Hey everyone, buckle up, because something wild is happening in the rimfire world right now. These little B.22s are stacking bullets into tiny knots at 100 yards. Groups so tight they're making centerfire shooters do a double take. I've been behind the trigger on precision rigs for 15 years, and trust me, the ground is shifting under our feet. Today we're running through 10 rimfire rifles that flat out refuse to play second fiddle. The one sitting at the top is rewriting training programs for pros across the country. Stick around, because by the end, you'll see why rimfire just stole the spotlight. Kicking things off at number 10 is the Savage Mark II FVSR, the ultimate gateway rifle that turns casual plinkers into accuracy addicts without ever making you refinance the house. Savage has been in the reliability game since the late 1800s, and they took every lesson from a century plus of building workhorse firearms and crammed it into this compact, no-nonsense package that feels like it was designed for backyard commandos and budget-conscious bench rest newbies alike. You're looking at a stubby 16.5-inch carbon steel barrel that's already threaded at the muzzle, so your favorite suppressor just twists on like it was born there, turning this thing into a whisper-quiet pest control ninja, or the perfect companion for late-night range sessions without waking the neighbors. The entire rifle weighs a featherlight 5.5 pounds, making it a breeze to tote through thick brush, stash in a blind, or hand off to a younger shooter who's just getting serious about hitting what they aim at. Feeding comes from a detachable 10-round box magazine that clicks in solid and drops free when you need it to. And Savage's legendary AccuTrigger is right there waiting for you to tweak it down with nothing more than a common Allen key, no gunsmith, no drama, just smooth, repeatable breaks that teach good habits from the first squeeze. Mount any optic you want on the full-length Picatinny rail that comes factory installed. Load up a brick of high-velocity rounds, and you'll be watching those bullets stack into consistent 3/4-inch clusters at 50 yards like it's the easiest thing in the world. Stretch the distance to 100 and feed it quality match-grade ammo, and those groups tighten up to around an inch, which is honestly ridiculous for something that costs less than a decent dinner for four. Pop a can on the end, and the whole setup becomes backyard squirrel silent, super maneuverable in tight spaces, and still light enough that you forget it's slung over your shoulder until it's time to shoot again. The synthetic stock does feel a little hollow and flexy under hard use. The factory trigger pull lands on the heavy side before you adjust it. The magazine can be finicky to seat until it's broken in, and the barrel heats up fast if you're dumping rounds in a hurry, but at a street price hovering right around $240, sometimes dipping even lower on sale, this rifle owns the entry-level precision market like no other. It's the one you buy when you want to dip your toe into sub-MOA rimfire without committing to a second mortgage. The rifle that proves you don't need custom cash to start ringing steel at distances that used to belong only to centerfires. And the platform that quietly dominates big box store shelves because it simply refuses to miss when the basics are done right. Number 9 rolls in hot with the CZ457 American, the rifle that makes every other rimfire in the safe feel like a toy. Picture this. You're at the range, sun's dipping low, and this Czech beauty is stacking rounds into a single ragged hole, while your buddy's $200 customs is spraying like a garden hose. CZ didn't just build a gun, they dropped a legacy. These guys have been handcrafting bolt-action rimfires since the 1930s, back when most of us weren't even a sparkle in our granddad's eye, and the 457 American is the crown jewel of nearly a century of obsession. That 24-inch cold hammer forged barrel isn't some marketing gimmick. It's a precision tube that laughs at heat and keeps printing tiny groups long after lesser barrels start walking. Nestled into a gorgeous walnut stock that's pillared and bedded like a high-end centerfire. The whole rifle tips the scales at a featherweight 6.1 pounds, light enough to carry all day but stable enough to shoot off a shaky bipod like it's glued to concrete. The trigger, adjustable from 2 to 4 pounds with nothing more than a tiny Allen key, no gunsmith, no drama, just pure crisp breaks that make you giggle. Pop in a 5 or 10 round detachable mag, pick your poison, and watch this thing flirt with 3/4 MOA at 100 yards straight out of the box. We're talking groups you can cover with a quarter using nothing fancier than SK Standard Plus. And here's the party trick. Swap barrels in under 5 minutes with 2 Allen wrenches. Want to go from quiet plinking to varmint sniping? Done. The 60-degree bolt throw is smoother than a fresh jar of Skippy, cycling so fast you'll forget it's not a semi-auto. Fit and finish? It feels like a $1,000 rifle in your hands, blued steel kissing oiled walnut, the kind of gun you'll pass down to your kids. Who will then outshoot you with it? Market position? This is the Goldilocks rimfire, not the cheapest, not the priciest, but the one that makes budget guns look embarrassing and custom shops sweat. At around $550 street price, it's the ultimate one rifle to rule them all for hunters, trainers, and weekend paper punchers. Pros: heirloom quality wood, interchangeable barrels, sub-MOA out of the box, buttery action, and CZ's legendary durability that'll outlast your grandkids. Cons: walnut swells in humidity. Keep it oiled. The safety is a little quirky at first, and the mags aren't cheap to replace. But honestly, for the price of a fancy dinner for two, you're getting a rifle that dominates local matches, trains new shooters like a pro, and looks drop-dead sexy on the wall. If rimfire had a Hall of Fame, the CZ457 American would have its own wing. Number 8 brings us to the Bergara B-14R. And if you know anything about barrels, you know Bergara's name carries serious weight in the precision world. These Spanish craftsmen have been handcrafting some of the most accurate centerfire tubes on the planet since 1999, supplying big names and custom builders alike. And in 2019, they finally said, why not shrink that magic down to rimfire? What they delivered is basically a Remington 700 footprint wearing Bergara DNA, complete with an 18-inch 4140 chrome moly barrel that's button-rifled and stress-relieved in-house for consistency you usually only see on rifles twice the price. The action is a full 700 clone, so every stock, trigger, and chassis made for the 700 world bolts right up. No gunsmith required, and that 90-degree bolt throw with dual ejectors and a smooth plunger makes cycling feel effortless even under match pressure. Feed it from affordable AICS pattern 10-round magazines that drop free with a satisfying click. And the receiver comes drilled and tapped with a full 20 MOA Picatinny rail already installed, ready for your long-range glass right out of the box. The trigger is Bergara's own REM 700 style unit, adjustable down to a crisp 2.5 pounds with zero creep, giving you that custom feel without the custom weight. On the range, this thing is a group shrinking machine, regularly printing 4/10 or better at 100 yards when you feed it quality match ammo like SK or Lapua. And it's no surprise that shooters are climbing podiums at national level Precision Rimfire Series events with factory B-14Rs, often outshooting rifles costing thousands more. The barrel harmonics are spot on. The action is machined to tight tolerances that hold zero through heat and abuse. And because it's built on the 700 platform, the aftermarket support is endless. Want a carbon fiber stock, folding chassis, or competition trigger? Done. All this performance lands at a street price hovering right around $1,000, which in the precision rimfire world is borderline disruptive when you consider how close it gets to true custom performance. Now, it does demand a little love. Keep that bore clean, and don't skimp on ammo if you want those tiny groups. And the factory composite stock is functional but basic. Nothing fancy, no adjustability, and the whole package tips the scale at over 6 pounds, which isn't light for a rimfire. Some shooters swap the stock immediately to shave weight or add features, but even bone stock, the B-14R has carved out a dominant spot in the market as the go-to production rifle for serious competitors who want custom-level accuracy without the custom price tag or lead time. It's not just a rimfire, it's a statement. Factory rifles can now hang with the big dogs, and Bergara just proved it. At number 7, let's talk about the Tikka T1X MTR, a rifle that feels like it snuck out of a Sacco factory and decided to live its best rimfire life. Launched back in 2018, this Finnish beauty was engineered from the ground up to be the most accurate production line .22 you can walk into a store and buy without selling a kidney. The heart of it is a 20-inch cold hammer forged barrel cut with 5R rifling that just loves to spin match-grade bullets into tiny, predictable spirals. That barrel floats inside a fiberglass reinforced stock that's been beefed up with a full-length aluminum bedding block. So no matter how many strings you fire, the harmonics stay locked in and the zero never drifts. The entire rifle tips the scales at a featherweight 5.9 pounds. Light enough to carry all day, yet stable enough to shoot off a backpack like a bench rest rig. What really sets it apart is the action. It's a dead ringer for the Tikka T1X centerfire footprint, which means every stock, every chassis, every trigger guard designed for your deer rifle bolts straight onto the T1X with zero gunsmithing. Drop it into an MDT Oryx or a KRG Bravo, and you've got a clone of your big game gun that costs pennies to feed. The single-stage trigger breaks like glass right around 2 pounds out of the box, and the bolt glides on buttery bearings with a short 60-degree throw that's faster and smoother than a lot of centerfires I've run. Feed it from crisp 10-round polymer magazines that click in with authority and drop free when you're ready to reload. On the range, this thing is stupid accurate. Half-inch groups at 50 yards become routine with decent ammo. And even stretching out to 100 yards, it'll keep everything inside an inch if you do your part and pick something like SK Rifle Match or Lapua Center X. It's the ultimate crossover trainer. Same grip angle, same cheek weld, same balance as the rifle you take elk hunting. Only now, you're burning through a brick of 22s for what one centerfire cartridge costs. Street price usually lands right around $600, sometimes a hair less if you catch a sale, which is wild when you consider the build quality and the fact that Tikka's reputation for out-of-the-box precision is basically bulletproof. It's carved out a sweet spot in the market as the go-to for hunters who want a rimfire that mirrors their centerfire setup. And it's become a favorite in NRL 22 base class divisions, where rules keep things close to factory. On the downside, the factory stock isn't adjustable for length of pull or cheek height without swapping parts. The barrel ships unthreaded, so you'll need a smith if you want to run a can. And the magazine release takes a little practice to master one-handed. Some folks complain the polymer furniture feels a tad hollow when you shoulder it, and the bolt handle could be a smidge longer for gloved hands in cold weather. Still, those are nitpicks on a rifle that delivers custom-level consistency for production money. If you're looking to train for PRS, hunt small game, or just punch ridiculously small groups without breaking the bank, the T1X MTR sits in a class of its own, bridging plinking and precision better than anything else on the shelf. Halfway home at number 6, let's dive into the Vudoo Gun Works V22, the rifle that walked into the rimfire world in 2018 and basically told every other action to go home. These guys didn't just want to compete, they wanted to build the single most accurate rimfire platform on the planet, and honestly, they nailed it so hard, the competition is still picking up the pieces. Everything starts with a beefy stainless steel receiver that's machined to tolerances tight enough to make a Swiss watchmaker jealous. Inside sits a slick 3-lug bolt that locks up with a satisfying 60-degree throw, cycling faster than you can blink, and feeding from rock-solid 10-round rotary magazines that click in like they were born there. The full-diameter firing pin drops with authority. And dual extractors make sure every case leaves the chamber, whether it wants to or not. Vudoo doesn't outsource the heart of the gun. They cut their own button-rifled barrels in-house, offering lengths from 16 inches for maneuverability all the way to 22 for maximum velocity and stability, with contours from lightweight sporter to heavy varmint depending on whether you're hunting squirrels or punching paper at 500 yards. Drop in any Remington 700 trigger you want because the action is a clone footprint, meaning the aftermarket world is your playground. Swap stocks, chassis, rails, whatever. It all bolts right up. On the range, this thing is surgical. With premium match ammo like Lapua Center X or Ely 10X, you'll watch bullets pile into groups measuring 0.3 of an inch at 50 yards. And even stretching out to 100, it refuses to open up past half MOA if you hold your breath and squeeze right. Pros in the Precision, Rimfire series, and NRL 22 treat the V22 like a cheat code. The rifle is never the reason they miss a plate. It's always the shooter or the wind. Every component is hand-fitted at the factory, which is why the bolt feels like it's gliding on ice and the headspace is perfect from day one. It's carved out a cult, following among serious competitors and long-range rimfire junkies who want bench rest repeatability in a repeater that still runs like a field gun. Barreled actions start right around $2,000. And if you just want the action to build your dream rifle, you're looking at about $1,600, which sounds steep until you realize custom shops charge double for half the performance. The downside? Demand is insane, so expect wait times of several months, sometimes pushing half a year, if you want a specific contour or finish. It's picky about ammo, feed it bulk pack stuff, and it'll still shoot better than most rifles. But to see those one-hole groups, you need the good stuff, and that gets pricey fast. The bolt handle is on the small side for gloved hands, and there's no factory threaded barrel option, so suppressor fans need a gunsmith. The polymer magazines are bulletproof, but cost more than 1022 junk, and some shooters wish the stock offering was more adjustable out of the box. Still, for pure, stupid, repeatable accuracy that removes the rifle from the equation and puts every shot on the shooter, nothing in the rimfire world touches the V22. It's the gold standard for anyone who treats .22 like a religion. Sliding into number 5, let's talk about the Ruger American Rimfire, the rifle that showed up in 2013 and basically told every other budget .22 to step aside because the grown-ups had arrived. Ruger didn't just slap their name on a plinker, they built a full-on precision platform that still dominates the entry-level accuracy game more than a decade later. At the core is an 18-inch cold hammer forged barrel finished with a recessed target crown that protects the rifling and keeps every bullet flying true, no matter how many bricks you send downrange. The whole package weighs a balanced 6 pounds, light enough for a kid to shoulder all afternoon, yet hefty enough to soak up recoil and stay steady on target. The modular stock comes with interchangeable spacers, so you can dial the length of pull from 12 to nearly 14 inches. Meaning, the rifle literally grows with the shooter. Start your 8-year-old on squirrels, and by the time they're 16, it still fits like a glove. Pick your poison, .22, long rifle for cheap practice, .22, Magnum for extra thump on varmints, or 17 HMR. If you want to reach out and touch prairie dogs past 200 yards, all feeding from Ruger's legendary rotary magazines that lock in solid and never jam, even when you're knee-deep in mud. The marksman trigger adjusts with a simple tool from 3 to 5 pounds and breaks cleaner than most factory centerfires, giving you that crisp snap without the creep that throws off follow-ups. The 60-degree bolt throw is short and silky, letting you run the action fast without losing cheek weld. And the tang safety sits right where your thumb wants it, positive on or off with zero fumbling. Under the hood, Ruger's power bedding system uses aluminum pillars and a V-block to cradle the action. So as the barrel heats up during long strings, the point of impact never walks. Groups stay tight from the first cold shot to the last. Out of the box with decent ammo, expect 3/4-inch clusters at 50 yards all day long and push to 100, and it'll keep everything under 2 inches, more than enough to smoke soda cans, ring steel, or drop tree rats cleanly. Street price hovers right around $400, sometimes dipping lower on sale, which is insane when you consider the features and the fact that Ruger's reputation for bulletproof reliability means this rifle will outlast your grandkids. It's become the default trainer for new shooters, the go-to for 4-H and junior programs, and a favorite for hunters who want one gun that does everything from backyard plinking to serious small game pursuits. On the downside, the polymer stock has a hollow echo when you shoulder it, almost like tapping a plastic bucket. And the magazine release sits a little far forward, so one-handed swaps take practice. The factory barrel isn't threaded, so suppressor users need a trip to the gunsmith. And the bolt handle is on the small side for gloved hands in winter. Some folks wish the comb was adjustable without aftermarket cheek risers, and the rail is only 3 to 8-inch dovetail out of the box, though Ruger includes adapter plates for Picatinny. Still, those are small gripes on a rifle that delivers grown-up accuracy for kid money. If you want to do everything rimfire that teaches fundamentals, fits the whole family, and won't quit no matter how hard you run it, the Ruger American Rimfire is pure gold. Runner-up at number 4 is the RimX from Zermatt Arms, and let me tell you, this thing is the love child of a bench rest custom and a rimfire that somehow slipped through the price barrier. Zermatt spent years perfecting Remington's 700 actions for the bench rest crowd before deciding to shrink their magic down to .22, and the result is pure obsession in steel. The entire action is machined from 17-4 stainless with a night ride finish that shrugs off rust and keeps friction to a whisper. You get controlled round feed, dual extractors, a plunger ejector, and a 90-degree bolt throw that feels like it was designed by someone who hates wasted motion. Drop in any Remington 700 trigger, any 700 base, and feed it from 10-round AICS magazines that lock in with a satisfying click. Out on the range with premium match ammo, it stacks bullets into quarter-inch knots at 50 yards and still holds 4/10 at 100, numbers that make custom builders nervous. The tolerances are so tight you could measure them with a feeler gauge and still come up short. Reliability is the kind that lets you forget the rifle and focus on the wind. And the customization options are basically unlimited because every chassis, every stock, every barrel maker on the planet already supports the 700 footprint. Action alone runs about $1,200, which sounds steep until you realize you're buying a ticket to the same club as rifles costing triple that. The bolt is a little stout when it's brand new. Waitlist can stretch months if you're not on the ball. And it absolutely demands the good stuff like Lapua or Elay to show its full personality. But when you want centerfire precision, centerfire ergonomics, and centerfire modularity without the centerfire ammo bill, the RimX is sitting alone at the top of the food chain. In a market flooded with drop-in upgrades and clone actions, Zermatt carved out a niche where pros and serious hobbyists fight over serial numbers, and once you shoulder one, you'll understand why the hype train never slows down. Taking the bronze at number 3 is the Anschutz 1761 MTR, the absolute pinnacle of German small-bore engineering that's been racking up Olympic gold since the swinging 60s, when Anschutz first turned rimfire into an art form. This isn't just a rifle. It's a precision instrument built in the same Bavarian factories that supply national teams and world champions who live or die by a single tenth on the score sheet. You're looking at a 20-inch match-grade barrel that's been hand-lapped to mirror smoothness, floating inside an 8.6-pound fully adjustable aluminum chassis. You can dial in like a Formula One cockpit. Cheek piece slides up and down with a click. Length of pull extends or retracts in seconds. Even the butt plate pivots and tilts, so every shooter from junior to veteran finds that perfect weld. The legendary 2-stage match trigger breaks so clean and light, you can tune it down to literal ounces with nothing more than a jeweler's screwdriver, while the 60-degree bolt throw glides on 6 beefy locking lugs for rock-solid lockup and buttery cycling that never distracts from the shot. Feed comes from a slick 5-round detachable magazine that snaps in with authority. And when you settle behind the bench with a brick of Ely 10X or Lapua Center X, this thing prints ragged one-hole groups at 50 yards until the barrel glows. Groups so tight the bullet holes touch, and the spotter can't tell how many shots you just fired. In the hyper-competitive world of ISS F3 position and prone small bore, the 1761 MTR isn't just popular, it's the benchmark every other manufacturer measures against. The rifle you see on the firing line at the Olympics, World Cups, and every national championship worth winning. Sure, the base price hovers around $2,800, and that sticker shock makes casual shooters flinch. But for serious competitors, it's an investment that pays dividends in medals and bragging rights. The weight alone makes it a bench queen rather than a field companion. It scoffs at anything less than premium match ammunition. And the adjustment tools live in a little pouch because you'll be tweaking constantly to chase perfection. But none of that matters when the final relay comes down to a single X-ring, and your Anschutz just delivered a 10.9, while the guy next to you is staring at a 10.7. If you're stepping onto the line where legacy is forged and every shot is recorded for history, the 1761 MTR isn't just the king, it's the dynasty. Runner-up at number 2, snagging the silver, is the Volquartsen Summit, the absolute pinnacle of what happens when you take Ruger's legendary 10/22 and hand it to a team of Iowa mad scientists who've been souping up rimfires since disco was king back in 1974. This isn't some off-the-shelf plinker with a fancy stock. It's Volquartsen's full-throated declaration that semi-auto .22s can hang with the priciest bolt guns on the planet, and they built every single piece in their own shop to prove it. Picture a feather-light stainless steel bolt dancing inside a custom-machined receiver that's been nitrided for slickness, feeding from the same dirt-cheap 10/22 magazines you've got stacked in the safe, while a 20-inch match-grade stainless barrel capped with an integral compensator reaches out like a laser. That laminated thumbhole stock isn't just pretty, it's aluminum pillared embedded to keep the action floating free no matter how hot the range gets. And the TG2000 trigger snaps at a glass crisp 2¼ pounds with 0 take-up, 0 over travel, just pure lightning. Settle in at the bench, and this thing stitches 3/10 at 100 yards all day long. Semi-auto, follow-up shots landing before the echo fades. The comp taming any hint of muzzle rise and turning recoil into a gentle nudge you barely notice. In the wild world of NRL 22 and Steel Challenge Rimfire divisions, the Summit isn't just competitive. It's the cheat code pros reach for when stage times demand speed without sacrificing X-ring hits. The rifle that turns a 10-second par time into a casual stroll. You'll part with about $2,000 for a complete rifle. And yeah, that's steep for a .22, but every dollar buys American-made perfection that outshoots customs costing triple. It screams like a banshee without a suppressor. It'll turn its nose up at bulk pack ammo and reward you with flyers if you skimp. And at 7+ pounds, it's no featherweight for hiking the back 40. But when the buzzer beeps and you need 10 plates down in 5 seconds with one ragged hole on paper, the Summit doesn't just win. It humiliates the field and sends you home with the hardware. If rapid, ridiculous precision is your religion, this is the altar you worship at. And your undisputed champion, claiming the top spot with absolute authority, is the CZ4FATIF Varmint MTR, the rifle that finally makes custom-level performance feel almost too affordable. CZ didn't just tweak an old design. They took 7 decades of rimfire mastery, from their early post-war bolt guns to modern Olympic-winning platforms, and poured it all into one do-it-all masterpiece that launched back in 2019 and instantly became the darling of the NRL 22 circuit. You're looking at a heavy 20.5-inch cold hammer forged varmint barrel that's been stress-relieved and lapped to perfection, riding inside a fully adjustable MTR chassis with tool-free cheek riser, length of pull spacers, and a rock-solid aluminum bedding system that keeps 0 even after hundreds of rounds. The whole package tips the scales at a stable 7.3 pounds. Perfect for prone shooting or bench sessions where every wobble costs you points. The trigger breaks clean and predictable at around 2.5 pounds right out of the box, and that silky 60-degree bolt throw with push-feed design cycles so smoothly you'll forget you're not shooting a high-end centerfire. One of the coolest tricks in its bag is the modular barrel system. Grab a couple of Allen keys and you can swap between .22 long rifle, .22 WMR, or .17 HMR in under 5 minutes. No gunsmith, no headspace drama, just pure versatility. Feed it from flush-fitting 5 or 10-round polymer mags that lock in with authority, and when you touch off quality ammo like SK Rifle Match or Lapua Center X, this thing prints clusters so tight at 100 yards that some shooters are regularly dipping into the low 0.3s, making it a legit threat in precision rimfire leagues where $1,000 customs used to rule. The hammer-forged barrel shrugs off heat like it's nothing, maintaining point of impact through long strings, and the chassis gives you that full custom fit without the custom waitlist or wallet shock. All this dominance comes in at under $900 street price, which is honestly disruptive when you consider that many premium rimfires cost twice as much and still can't match the out-of-box consistency. Sure, it's a chunky beast and thick brush. The magazines run a few bucks more than Ruger rotary spares, and hardcore bench rest guys might want a trigger that dips below 2 pounds. But for the vast majority of shooters, whether you're chasing local match wins, training for PRS season, teaching the next generation, or just wanting a rifle that makes every range day feel like a victory lap, the CZ457 Varmint MTR sits alone at the top. The people's champion that finally closed the gap between factory and full custom without compromise. There you have it, 10 rimfire rifles that turned a backyard caliber into a precision powerhouse. From threaded savages ready for midnight pest control to Olympic Anschutzes that print one hole for fun, every gun on this list brings something lethal to the table. Rimfire isn't whispering anymore, it's screaming from the podium. Drop your favorite in the comments, tell me which one you're saving up for, and we'll see you in the next one where we pair these beasts with glass and ammo that make them sing.